Hello and welcome to another tutorial of ProEDI. Today I'd like to demonstrate how to apply field checks to drawings and in general how to make changes to an elevation or cabinet. So let's get right to it. Let's assume the end user requested that we make this tall cabinet from 30 inches wide to 36 inches wide. Well, rather than doing any changes to the drawing itself, we do everything through the cabinet properties, which is edit line items, and then we can make our size changes right in this area here. So instead of a nominal 30 inch, we're going to say we need a 36 inch today. Click update item, and that basically redraws the cabinet for us. Okay, so simple enough. Another change that the end user requested was, he says, I don't need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 verticals in here. I would actually like to go to 3. So again, we go edit line item, and then here we have under custom options we have the number of dividers, and we change it from 5 to 3, and then it draws it with 3 dividers instead of 5. So again, the idea is that nobody needs to stretch anything or do anything to the drawing itself. Everything is done through this screen right here, where we basically can make size changes up here, all sorts of material and finish changes, and down here we also have a section where we can have custom options for different cabinets, so variations of a cabinet. In this case we just change the number of dividers. Being a custom software, there's really no limit to this. Any particular cabinet can have custom prompts. I can show you some others that have custom prompts. For example, this tall cabinet, we could change where the split of the doors is from this height to the sitting heights, and there it is, or we could move it anywhere else for that matter. Let's move it back to where it was. So tops, for example, you could add grommets to countertops and they show up here. The different grommet sizes. You could even change the shape of the top by going in here and doing it on this side. Alright, so let's get back to maybe making some changes to sizes. So instead of doing the last cabinet over here, changing it to 36 inches, let's say we needed to change this cabinet here from 30 to 36 inches. If we do that, edit line item, go to 36 inches, click update, and actually a couple of things happen now. First of all, like we expected, the size of the cabinet is now 36 inches wide instead of 30, but at the same time it moved all the cabinets over the additional 6 inches that we inserted here, so we don't have to do anything to the other ones. In a traditional CAD environment, you would have to move everything back in place and make it line up. So here, by just changing the size, basically took care of the complete drawing for us, which is kind of nice. Alright, so we call this the bungee effect. Basically, by changing something, it will update cabinets that are around it, because the ProEDI is aware of what cabinets follow a particular cabinet and therefore can change the insert position of those cabinets. In addition to changing the position, it also on the top as well as the backsplash, since it still lines up in between our cabinet here and the wall, it obviously changed the size of those. Again, we don't need to do anything. This one cabinet size change also changed those items for us. Sizes will update, pricing will update, and so that's kind of nice. Alright, we also could insert a cabinet. Let's say we needed the cabinet in between those two. The easiest way is to just right click somewhere close to this splice, say add line item, and then select your line item. You can either type, or obviously you can go to the search button and select it from the integrated catalog. Let's make it an arrow one. And there's our cabinet in between. Not only did it insert this cabinet now, but it realized I'm getting too long for one top. I basically have to splice the top, so it basically went in and did 2 worktops for us as well as 2 backsplashes. Okay. Alright. We can also move cabinets around. If we go right click on this cabinet and say move and align, we could move that cabinet, let's say 24 inches over, and now we basically created area for, let's say, an under-counter refrigerator or another space for knee space to sit or something like that. Let's delete this cabinet together with the space again. Alright. Okay, let's make this cabinet our 30-inch cabinet again. Alright, so we're back to where we were. Now we also can apply field checks. Let's assume that this outlet here came in not at this particular location, but just moved in the real world. So we go over to our building items, which is basically the same drawing as the other one, with now the cabinets grayed out and basically emphasizes all the building items on that wall. For example, our outlet that's down here. When we right click on it, we say edit building item, and instead of 134, it may come in at 129 inches from the left wall. Now it basically says 129 inches. We go back to our line items so we can see those better, and we see that the outlet is right behind the tall cabinet, which is not good. So we need to make another adjustment in the width of the cabinets, and we could certainly do it by going edit line item and changing this to maybe 27. Changes it, but now our problem is that the wall cabinets don't line up with this cabinet. I have to do the wall cabinet separately. Okay, and everything is good again. However, there is a better way of doing this, which, let me go back to where we started and I'll show you that method. So if we know we wanted to cut basically 3 inches out at that particular plane right here, we could click somewhere in this plane and say adjust cabinets. What that does now is it goes and takes inventory of this position right here where we clicked and says, okay, I have this cabinet involved, this cabinet involved, this top involved, this backsplash involved. Goes back to the price list, sees what sizes are available for those cabinets, and it's telling us that at that particular spot we could make an adjustment of minus 18 inches and plus 6 inches. So those cabinets apparently are available up to a size of 36 inches wide, and if I subtract 18 from that, apparently the smallest size for those two cabinets is 12 inches wide. So all we do is say we adjust it by minus 3 inches to get everything scooted back to the left. Hit OK. Now the system goes and redraws the whole elevation for us, now with 27-inch wide cabinets, and with one command we've basically adjusted the whole elevation, which is kind of nice. Alright, so now we have our outlet back out in the open where it needs to be and everything is fine. Another real common task is when we have wall-to-wall elevations, to make adjustments there and basically do that in the filler areas to the left and right side of the elevation. Again, we have a specialized command for that. We'll just right click anywhere and say field checks through fillers. It's telling us that the current overall wall is 12 feet wide and the elevation itself, the cabinet's also totaling 12 feet. It reminds us that our minimum filler width in this customer's case is 1 5/8 and the maximum we would like to use is 6 inches, and therefore it tells us that the adjustments we can make on this elevation are in between those two numbers. So let's say we needed to go to a size of 11 feet 9.5 inches. Well, click OK. Now the system goes and calculates and makes those 3-inch fillers into 1 inch and 3/4 fillers all the way around. All fillers are that size now, and our overall is 11 9.5, just like we requested. Alright, but what if sometimes the adjustment needs to be more than just the inch or 2 inches that we can do with our fillers? So for that we need to pick a spot where we want to cut our cabinets down, just like we've done in the previous elevation. So let's assume maybe right here in this area. So we go right click, adjust cabinets, and this time we want to cut out maybe 6 inches. So that should make our 18 come down to 12-inch wide cabinets, which it did. And then, but we also have now a gap of the 6 1/8 due to rounding here. 6 1/8 inch gap between our end of the elevation and the wall. So now we go to our field check fillers, and now we can say what the real amount is. Let's say 11 and 4 inches. So we'll go to 4 inches on the money, hit OK, and now our 1 3/4 will update to 2-inch fillers, and we have our 11 feet 4 inches, and the wall is now lining up with the end of the elevation again. So really doing a field check this way involves 2 steps. If the gap is more than just a few inches, which means you go in, adjust the cabinets at a particular spot, and then do your filler field check. And that's all there is needed in order to update the overall length of wall-to-wall elevations. Thanks.